Okay, I think we can get started. So it's about almost 12 and 12:01. So welcome everyone. It's Monday. So do a mindfulness practice today, Mindfulness Mondays. For those of you that are joining this group for the first time, just a quick reminder of what we do and why we do it. So the idea here is we know from lots of the clinical work that we've been doing for many years with folks that are struggling with PTSD, emotional pain, physical pain, depression, anxiety, and so forth, that, you know, no matter what kinds of medicines we're taking, what kind of ketamine treatments we can offer, at the end of the day, just reinforcing a sense of positivity and becoming more skillful at these behaviors that we would call positive is kind of a non-negotiable, right? We need to get better at these, no matter what our past is, if we want to live a life where we're truly thriving. And so the idea around this group is we're just going to carve out 15 minutes a day, literally from noon to 12:15, and we're going to activate that part of our brain and our nervous system to make sure that that those connections that our brain needs in order to have those subjective experiences of gratitude, forgiveness, mindfulness, self-awareness, like all the stuff, these foundational building blocks, that's there, that we continue to stimulate that on a regular basis. So mindfulness, which is the theme for Mondays, is one of those foundational skills. And I think of mindfulness as uh, an attempt, or putting in some effort to actually connect with reality as directly as possible. And again, there's a question as to, to what extent is that possible? Because the truth is our brain and our nervous system is kind of wired to make all kinds of assumptions and, spin narratives and stories. And that's just the way the brain works. So one of the terms that is used for this process, this is Carl Jung right here, is this idea of transference. And this is something that we need to take really seriously for those of us that work in a clinical setting when we're working with patients, especially when they're using ketamine or other compounds that alter consciousness. There is a sense of how much of the uh, feelings and experiences that we're having, how much of that are we projecting onto another person? And the truth of the matter is this happens in all relationships all the time. So this idea of unconscious redirection of feelings and desires from one person to another, meaning we don't see other people the way they are, we see other people the way we are, right? We're projecting, or we're transferring our narrative and our ethical ideas or our morality onto others and say, well, of course this is the way things are. Of course you should see things this way. Of course, you're wrong or right or bad or good or whatever it might be, because that's what makes sense to me. And so mindfulness is an opportunity to at least attempt to make direct contact with reality, meaning we suspend judgment, or we notice the judgments as they're happening. So we can drop into a place where we can just see things more clearly, and we're able to then use that in our interactions with others to be able to say, oh, there's my mind spinning this old story that I have from way back from when I was a kid, and this is the way things always were for me. And this person is doing this exact same thing right now. We can kind of sidestep that and take a step back and say, oh, there's my mind doing that. It doesn't mean that this person is actually doing that. And there's a kind of freedom. I think there's almost like a moral honesty that we can make contact with if we get better and better at practicing this skill. So I thought let's try that today. And then, as always, I'll stick around afterwards if anyone has questions or wants to talk about how this landed or didn't. I'm available for that after. So let's start by closing our eyes. Probably the first point of contact that we can make, the direct point of contact with maybe what I would call reality, is sensing the body, the sensing what many of us would call our body in space and time. So sitting on a chair, maybe you're laying down in a bed, and see if you can just take a step back and notice, oh, there's the body. There are the feet in contact with the ground. Neither good nor bad, right or wrong. It's just feet, contact with the ground. And same with, our pelvis or our sit bones sitting in the chair, just contact with the chair. Neither right or wrong, good or bad, it just is. So seeing if you can make direct contact with the sensation of noticing the body sitting in a chair. And then noticing the body's breathing. It's the process that goes on all day long. Body breathing in, body breathing out. And again, in the spirit of making direct contact with the experience of breath, begin by noticing what happens in your nostrils. The body breathes in, the nostrils when the body breathes out. And then noticing breath passing through the throat. Lungs filling up and emptying on the out breath. And the belly expanding and contracting. And the goal here is for just a few minutes, see if you can make as much direct contact with those experiences as possible. So feet on the ground, body sitting in the chair, breath coming and going. And by direct contact, I mean sort of the straightforwardness before stories kick in, before the evaluating and judging mind says this is good or bad, or pleasant or unpleasant. It's direct contact before all of that happens. And see if you can connect with the memory of someone that you were interacting with that maybe felt a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe they were upset or sad. And then applying the same, just matter of factness, direct contact before the stories happen, just noticing there's a human being in front of me experiencing sadness or upset, whatever it might be. Just stay in contact with that, like pure empathy. It's connecting with what is before the mind spins stories of blame or shame or judgment. Just sadness, just fear. We don't have to do anything about it. We can just be in contact with it and just see it for what it is. Mind's not wrong for wanting to make stories or narratives about things. It's what kept our ancestors alive, which is why we're still here. And it's also good to come into contact with the mechanics of how the mind works, and that there is a place before the stories kick in that we can dwell in, just be in direct contact with just what's happening without judgment or fear. And if you start losing the thread on staying in direct contact with this memory of this person feeling upset or sad, you can just drop right back into breath. There's a simplicity to that. It's just breath coming and going. Just feet on the ground. And go ahead and take a deep breath in. Exhale all the way slowly. And hold the exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slow inhale. Long exhale. And then hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then just allow the body to breathe its own rate. And just watching, just noticing. And go ahead and open your eyes. Come on back to the session. So we're out of time. The invitation today is to see if you can maintain that sense of mindfulness throughout the rest of the day. So just kind of lean into it and notice the difference between being in direct contact with what's happening and the part of the mind that wants to transfer and elaborate and judge and spin stories. So hope that was helpful. I'll stick around for a few more minutes if anyone wants to connect. Take care. See you tomorrow.